live now.
Are we live? Oh, what is going on? Oh man, I got some in my eye. What is going on, everybody? So, first of all, good morning, Leather.
Good morning.
It's been a crazy morning for me. Well, as you all know, that I had a baby. Well, I didn't have the baby, but
Don't be taking
I
credit
now
for that.
have a
You didn't
baby.
do that.
So this morning it was a little hard to get out of bed because I've been sleeping with Maisie and she's just so cuddly and it's just really tough to leave her. And so I had that this morning and then I came in and then there's like a million things going on that, is just the nature of the beast here. And yeah, I tried to focus in on what I was focusing on. So that's good. But anyway, I'm happy to be on the live stream because this is a good change of pace. And so I know I saw some people in the chat, but first of all, Leather, how was your morning?
It was rushed.
Was it rushed? You had a rushed morning as well. You were kind of telling me about it.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the chat about it?
My baby is almost 6 months tomorrow. And she
Nice.
woke up 30 minutes before my alarm, which I always hate. And then I just fed her, went back to sleep. I usually hit snooze 3 times. I know that some people are like anti-snooze, but I'm like snooze until I have to get up. But one time apparently I accidentally hit stop instead of snooze, and then I was like, wow, I feel like this is a really long snooze. And then it
is great.
It was almost 20 minutes later than I usually get up. So, but somehow, by a miracle of Jesus, we made it out of the house on time.
Got the kids to daycare on time.
Yep.
So they got their breakfast?
Yep.
Because they have to be there by a certain time to get breakfast.
Yep.
And you don't want to miss that.
No. But usually, like, if we're running late, especially if it's my fault, I'll tell Mila we'll stop at Dunkin' and get a donut since it's my fault. But we did not have to make a Dunkin' stop. Well, we did. But
you get Dunkin' after you drop them off. You ain't getting no donuts for them kids. That's hilarious. Well, my morning wasn't as rushed, but now I have to let the dogs out in the mornings. That's kind of part of my routine.
Wait.
What?
I don't.
Oh no! Did you break something?
No. Well, my live stream thing says that something went wrong. I don't know. Does it still say that we're live over there?
Yeah, mine's going great.
Okay. Just making sure. Yeah, it's good now. I didn't know if it was my phone or like our actual live stream.
It's because you have an iPhone. We've talked about this.
Oh, brother.
Oh, here we go. But no, so I have to let the dogs out in the morning, and it's muddy.
Yeah, I've let your dogs out.
It's a whole thing, and then they don't get let out as much because we have the kids and it's muddy and it's a lot of work. Yeah. And so like they're like running around and like want to jump on each other and get everyone muddy, and then I can't turn on the light because at the top of the steps is our couch, and that's where my mother-in-law is sleeping. So I'm using my flashlight, spraying them off. Yeah, it's a whole process. But hey, it's a part of
we're making it, Rob.
Yeah, we're making it work. But I hope you guys had a better morning than me and Leather did. Although I can't say mine was bad. Mine was actually.
It wasn't terrible. It just, wasn't.
It just wasn't a smooth morning.
Yeah, it could have been better.
Yeah, and then my wife was up feeding the baby, and she's just like, she always does this to me, and she should do this to me, but she's like,
should. Whatever
it is,
like, she should.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you're going to work? I'm like, yeah, you knew I was going to work, and she's like, well, how long are you going to work for? And I'm like, I don't know, until like 5 or so, and she's like, well, like, don't you think you should be on like paternity leave and spend time with the family? I'm like, babe, it's been 2 weeks. She's like, well, you worked like a week of that. And I'm like, well, I just got stuff to do. And she's like, well, normal people get at least 2 weeks, and you own the company, so you should at least get more than that. It's like, man, I'm getting grilled. So I got grilled by my wife this morning about how I'm not there, and she's like, well, the baby's only this old once, and you're missing the whole thing. I'm just like, oh, man.
I'm not going to disagree with her.
Yeah, I really can't argue with any of the points that she made.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice to have you here for the live stream. And it's been a kind of crazy season for you to be having a baby in the middle of. I will say that.
It's literally the end of the year, which is like, there's a lot of craziness that happens between end of the year and beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Like if it was like middle of the year or middle of a quarter or something like that, or we didn't have all these goals and I had all these videos already filmed, then it, potentially it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah.
By the way, your baby is 6 months today.
Is today oh, wait. Today's the 3rd?
Oh,
Oh, wow. I
Cody's,
thought it was the 2nd.
Cody's here to correct her. Your baby's actually 6 months
I
today.
just don't even know what day it is anymore.
On the 3rd.
Yeah.
My baby's on the 2nd.
It is the 3rd. I thought today was the 2nd. So
My baby's 24, 25 months. 25 months today. How about that?
yeah. They're just
Isn't that
growing
crazy?
up.
They're just
Mila
growing
will
up.
be 5 in 2 months.
That's nuts. They grow up so fast. But let's see what's going on in the chat. So, oh no. There we go. First of all, Will's in the chat. So Will, I'm glad you're here, man. Sure Aquatics. So Will is gonna come down today, and I think he still is planning on coming down today.
Shut up.
He is. And he's bringing a convict that I told him that we'd rehome for him. So we'll put it in one of our tanks. We'll find a home for it. But he's bringing that down. And then he wanted to take me out to lunch, but I forgot we have that meeting from 11:30 to 12:30 with H2O plants. And so, Will, I have that meeting going on. So I wanted to see if you could come tomorrow or
Okay.
actually Friday would be the best day because tomorrow's a lot of meetings too. If you could come Friday, I would definitely have time to go out to eat. If you do come today, I would not have time because I also have to shoot a video and edit a video for tomorrow. Because we don't want to start the year off on a bad foot.
We're not starting the year off.
To give you guys some insight, long form content starts this Thursday. That's going to be our first long form video of 2024 and potentially our first long form video
the last one that you
in like a year.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact date, but I feel like it was like first quarter of last year.
Yeah, I was thinking for some reason I have like May in my head.
Yeah. May would be
or
second
March.
quarter.
Might have been March.
Yeah, I know that I was
It was before I was here. I know that.
Yeah, I don't even want to say consistent, but I was definitely posting videos in first quarter of last year. But anyway, Will, let me know about that. Who else we got in the chat? And shout out to Will again. The guy always gives subs. He's a Crystal Club member. Usually I would point to our ornament, but we don't have it in. You guys busted that down quick.
Yeah.
We got some big plans coming.
Did.
We did. Did you do that this morning?
It's right there.
Oh, you moved it? That is hilarious. Did you do that today?
Yeah, we came to lock up down here yesterday. I was like, oh, heck. I forgot about that because I
That
wasn't
is
down
so
here
funny.
yesterday.
We need to set up that the TV.
Yeah, I saw you started that, but I didn't really know.
I didn't actually start it.
Oh.
Mark just carried it in.
Oh.
But yes, I did. Just like you broke down the Christmas tree. We're on the same page. That's funny. Fish and Things with Lando says, I'll be 30 minutes late, but I'll be there. Well, shout out for when you do get here. We got Alice Biggs saying ask. So Alice must have a question. Oh, no, it's not Alice. It's Alicia.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with. Brandon Lightcap, good morning. Joe Miller, my man. Guppy Joe, we really missed you this week. I have to say, you broke Jay Guppy's heart. He was supposed to come on Tuesday to bring some guppies. And Jay Guppy was really excited. And I told him, I was like, on Monday, I was like, do we have an invoice from Joe? He's like, no, not yet. And I'm like, Joe's probably not coming because usually he's very consistent about sending them invoices. And I was right. Unfortunately, I spoke it into existence. So, but Joe, we missed you. Emily Reagan in the chat. We haven't had Emily in here. I think she missed last week and we missed her. So Emily Reagan, good morning to you. Who else we got in here? We got Jay Guppy correcting you in chat, roasting you.
I just didn't know
6 months today. That's funny. How do you say this next one? Oink Master Supreme Forever.
Yeah.
What a name, Oink Master. Good morning to Oink Master. Will said, I don't even need to hit snooze. The pro move is to just sleep completely through an alarm. I have done that before.
Oh my, that gives me anxiety just thinking about it.
You've never done it?
No, I don't think so.
I have to switch when I start. Well, actually, I can't say I've slept through an alarm, but I've turned off an alarm in my sleep.
That's what
so
I
once
did
I get used to the alarm sound, then that's where I have to change the sound because my body gets used to it and I just snooze it without even waking up.
I've had the same sound for like ever.
You should probably switch the
I'm
sound.
scared if I change it, I won't recognize it.
You won't be able to snooze
I sleep
it.
through Cody's and his is like
How's that go?
and I don't hear his.
Well, apparently either does he.
No.
Or he must have just forgot to set it that morning.
Yeah, it was something with like I don't even know how all the settings on here work. There's like focus and sleep mode and something. I don't know.
Oh, iPhone stuff.
Yeah.
Another
But
iPhone
I
problem.
don't use it.
It seems like
so-
there's a lot of problems with those things.
No, that was a user error, not turning the right
That was
settings.
a
on.
user error. Fishmania Chattanooga says,
I
"What a
love
great
Chattanooga.
podcast." I love Chattanooga. I love Chattanooga Ed.
What?
Chattanooga Ed is another YouTuber. Great guy. Phenomenal
I
guy.
don't know who Chattanooga
I
Ed
miss
is.
him. It'd be funny if that was him and he changed his name, but that's not him. I would know. Aquatic Moose says, "Yay, Flip is back." That's right. Flip is back and better than ever. We got the dream. We got the flippin' dream
We
team.
do have the flip.
We got Leather leading the charge. If you need somebody leading the charge, Leather is the person.
Oh my goodness.
And then we got DJM in the background leading the charge on all the shorts and the DJ stuff. And then we have a couple other people in the background. We got Jenna, who's really stinking good.
Yeah, she is.
And we found out. Can we talk about this on live?
I don't know what you're gonna talk about.
Lexi. Can we talk about Lexi on
I
live?
don't know.
Do Chick-fil-A people watch our live stream?
I don't know. Skirt.
Well, potentially we have somebody starting soon. We can't say who it is, but you can use clues to figure out who it is.
Clues. Oh my goodness.
Lose clues. So anyway, yes, but that's good news. So then Jenna can help us with more marketing stuff quicker.
Yeah, which
And
I
then-
am game for.
Yeah, just tons of good stuff. So lots of comments. So good morning,
Yeah.
everyone. Heather
Everybody's
Green,
chatting.
Becca, Oink in there. Let's see what Oink said. What did you say?
Everybody's chatty.
Everybody
today.
is chatty. I love it. Oink said, what?
Just keep reading.
Oink said, "Hi, Rob. I'm very enthusiastic mod on Primetime Aquatics and the proud girlfriend of Chad." What? 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 I love it. How did that happen? I was just talking about him. That's awesome. Just placed my first, I'm guessing order. Looking forward to receiving it. Hope to meet you someday soon. Oh my gosh. How
That's
crazy is that?
crazy.
So love Chattanooga Ed. The greatest guy in the whole world. I just saw his post about you. And like, cause he just posted like, hey, like 2023 was a great year. Like I got this girl and life's going really good. And I'm just like, good for you, buddy. So that is freaking awesome. Emily said, "How's Jenna's mural going?" So I didn't even know she was doing it yet.
Yeah.
And then I saw the video and I was like, dang.
Aren't
Has she
you
had a
glad
lot?
you remember?
I am glad I'm a member. That's funny. But good point.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's halfway done.
Is it really halfway done?
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Jenna's good. Did you help her?
Nope.
Just Jenna.
Yep.
Jenna.
I know.
Jenna.
She's a good one.
She is a good one. Well, hey, I guess jumping into today's topic, we're talking about water parameters, water testing, and how that relates to shrimp.
Yeah, and really all I have to bring to the table is lots of questions.
Oh, listen, last week you said you had nothing to bring to the table and you saw how that turned out. And by the end of it, you were the pro. You were teaching me.
Oh my goodness. Rob, there's one thing we don't do here.
What?
Tell lies.
We do not tell lies.
We do not.
We do not tell lies. This is the ultimate sin. What, Emily? Well, it's the ultimate sin at Flip Aquatics. All sins are created equal. But here, you do not tell lies. Whenever you deal with life, well, first of all, and then we'll move on to today's topic. This is how I feel. A lot of people say trust is earned, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's garbage. I think it's the worst thing ever. Trust is lost. And once I lose trust in someone, then like you really can't go backwards from that. So like when I hire someone, I give them 100% trust completely. And then if they ever lose that trust, then they can't be here anymore.
Yep.
So that's why you can't lie.
Yep.
And if you do lie, and like one time, I knew somebody was telling white lies that were like really stupid lies. And I let it go and it completely bit me in the butt. And so I was like, yep, nope, a lie's a lie. There's no lying. And that's just that.
No lies.
So don't lie.
No
When
white
you
lies.
toot
No
in your
purple
office and I
lies.
walk in and you say it's the trash.
Oh my god. Always the toots.
You know, it's so funny. So again, after this, I'll digress and we'll get into today's topic.
Are you lying again?
No, this one's funny. So when Leather started, there was me and her shared this
Oh,
lounge,
gosh.
and there was gnats everywhere,
Or
literally
fruit flies.
everywhere.
I don't know if those are different things.
And they
the
were just
same.
they're just attracted to Leather, and so they really didn't bother me, but like they would get on her food, in her coffee,
in my coffee cup. They would
And,
go
like-
like down the little hole.
to the point where she bought a diffuser
Mhm.
to ward them off.
But I really think the key was getting the food out of Rob's trash can.
Okay. So that's everyone's story. Like, it's Rob's fault. Rob did this. So then we move offices and everyone gets their own office.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. finish.
Everyone gets their own office. Leather has her own office. And I walk in there the other day and there's like all these little black dots on the floor. I'm like, what the heck? And then I look on the windowsill and there's more black dots. And here, Leather's breeding gnats in her office and they're everywhere.
Okay. but
Literally
they're
everywhere.
also in Jenna's office. They're also down the hallway. On the walls.
Stop.
It's not my
They're-
office.
They're just in your office.
No, they're not. But also, people still like to put food in my trash can.
It is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's just like everybody's joke to leave stuff in my
N-
office. on
now my
desk.
thing is to leave it in Liv's
Everybody will come in. My office is small, but everybody will come inside there
office.
just to eat.
We should get a table, like a round table for Liv in the front room in Liv's office,
Mhm.
just so we can all start eating lunch in her office, and then just leave trash on on the table for her
Yeah.
because she loves that.
One time I felt like I kept smelling onion, and I thought that you or Liv put an onion in my trash can on purpose.
Seriously,
Yes.
you would think that I would
yes,
do that.
100%.
To you. I would do something like that. I digress.
Okay.
Moving on. Okay, so what are we? 20 minutes in, and we're finally going to talk about today's topic. But I did enjoy, kind of just chatting it up with the chat and you, and sharing all the stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Good
good time.
times.
So today we are officially talking about water chemistry, water parameters, and how that relates to shrimp. So what do you want to start with? Neocaridina, caridina? Do you want to start with in general? Like, what
I
are you
think-
thinking? Like, give me your questions. We'll do that.
I think that you should start by explaining the different aspects of parameters and what they mean.
Hmm.
And go down that.
I could spend 40 minutes just talking about
Okay, well, just give us the basics and you can do a video later
that. Okay.
on the
I like
deep
it.
dive.
All right. So the most basic parameter that everyone knows about for the most part, if you're keeping aquariums, is pH. So pH is important for a lot of reasons. A low pH, which is a pH below 7, is considered acidic. So like acid. So like acid, like your fruits mostly are very acidic, which mean they have a very low pH. A lot of pop is acidic. And so like, how they sell like alkaline water
Mhm.
because the pH is above 7. So that's to kind of like neutralize your belly so that it sits at 7 pH. Because 7 pH is like the middle ground. Like 7 pH is neutral. It's not acidic. It's not alkaline. Most aquariums have a pH above 7. That's pretty normal because it has minerals in there. It has GHKH, which we'll get to that. And so alkaline is normal. Caridina shrimp, for example, need an acidic water. So like when you add tannins like Indian almond leaves, alder cones, driftwood, all those things are going to lower your pH, which is going to make it acidic. So like you need to know like what are you keeping and what pH do you need? And then the rest of them play into pH. So everyone knows pH, but really pH is a result of all the other parameters. Like it's hard to just create a pH and not worry about anything else. And a lot of people do that. They'll use products like pH up and pH down. And sometimes those things work. Sometimes those things are useful, but most people don't use them in the way that they should be used. So pH is the most standard thing. And what we use to test pH, I mean, we got, first of all, we love Fritz. We're not sponsored by Fritz. Just full transparency. We're not sponsored by them. We do have a great relationship with them. But they came out with all these test kits, which we use now because we have such a good relationship with them. And it's cheaper than buying the other test kits that we used to use. We used to use API, but I'd rather support somebody that I actually really like. So anyway, that's Fritz. So they have a pH. The last one that I picked. So they have a pH test kit, and it's literally just a dropper. I'll show you. Just a little test tube. You fill it up to the line, and then you put the test solution in there, and then depending on what color it is, determines your pH. So why pH means anything is one, because you need certain pHs for different animals. I've never been one to chase pH. So like neocaridina need an alkaline pH, which means above 7. And so like unless it's like ridiculously high, like 8.6, I wouldn't even worry about it. Like if it's anywhere between like 7 and 8, I'm just like, okay, it's better to have a consistent pH than a non-consistent one. Same thing with caridina, as long as it's between, you know, say 5.5 and 7 or 6.9, I don't really worry about it.
You just said caridina both times.
Oh,
So maybe
caridina is the
clarify.
one below. Neocaridina is the alkaline one, the one above. So sorry about that.
Okay.
So chasing pH is never what you should do. So like if you're trying to hit 7.2, I would rather you leave it at 7.5 than try to get it to 7.2. So really important. But the other reason that we use pH is because live bacteria, so like a cycle on an aquarium, live bacteria that forms below a pH of 7 is different than live bacteria that forms with a pH above 7. And so like if you have well-established live bacteria, sometimes they can transition back and forth. But realistically, what we found is there's two different types of bacteria. To get a bacteria to form below a pH of 7 is much harder to get than a pH above 7. But the good news is that ammonia, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is not toxic or not very toxic in a pH less than 7. And a pH between 7 and 8, it's not super toxic, but above 8, it starts getting really toxic. So like the lower your pH, the easier it is to keep livestock in, technically, because ammonia really won't affect them. So like the cycle won't be as bad. So like when we set up caridina tanks, I'm less worried about the cycle because their pH is usually about 6. So like even if, excuse me, even if they have a pH of, or even if they have an ammonia of 3 parts per million and a pH of 6, likely that ammonia really isn't going to affect them much. And so like that's kind of how pH plays into it. But another thing is pH will change throughout the day. So like if you test first thing in the morning when the lights come on and at the very end of the day when the lights turn off, odds are those pHs are going to be completely different. And that's just like as things consume oxygen in the water, as things produce oxygen in the water, like pH is going to fluctuate throughout the day. So if you want to get like a true pH, you should test it at the same time every day over the course of like 3 or 4 days. And that'll give you a pretty good accurate shot of like, this is what my pH is. But if you test it in the morning and then you test it at night, like it's not going to be accurate whatsoever. So that's pH. So that's just one of the things. What do you, any questions about pH?
No.
You feel pretty educated now?
Yeah.
Educated?
So I guess my only thing is going back to the things that you can use to affect your pH and not chasing pH. Like, would you say that it, instead of chasing the pH with those things, since pH is really like the result of a bunch of other things, if you want to, unless like you're in an emergency situation pH wise, would you say it would be better to look at the other ways you can affect pH rather than throwing some random chemical in there to...
Absolutely. So like the ways to effectively lower pH, we can talk about that first, would be buffering substrate. So we sell Brightwell substrate. It's the substrate we've used for forever. We use it in all of our aquariums. We are sponsored by Brightwell, but we do use their substrate in every single one of our tanks because we found that it's the best. And so it's called an active substrate. that's going to lower your pH. That's one way to do it. The other thing is alder cones, Indian almond leaves. Most types of botanicals will lower your pH. So those are like the two ways that you can lower a pH effectively. And it won't do it unless you dump like 100 alder cones in your tank, it isn't going to like shock the animals. So you can bring it down slowly. Now, if you want to increase your pH, if you're having the opposite issue, crushed coral is the easiest way to do that. And so crushed coral is literally like shells and all kinds of, like, think of what you'd find on the beach, stuff like that. You put it in your aquarium, you can put it in your filter, you can put it in the substrate, things like that. And that's going to slowly raise your pH. So those are two ways to do it naturally that are going to be less, cause less fluctuations. And so like, that's what I would do instead of using a product like pH up and pH down, because those can, like, if you overdose them, like, it can change it like that. And then you can have pH crashes or pH shoot up, and that can kill your livestock really quick.
Yeah.
But you need to understand like what actually makes the pH. So like pH basically is caused by like what's in the water. So like the general hardness, the carbonate hardness. So the GH and the KH. So we have, Fritz doesn't have a KH test, which I don't understand why, but they do have a GH test. So general hardness, you can, like, in caridina tanks, we need to have a general hardness of like 4 to 6. Like that's what we're aiming for. And usually we're remineralizing it. We want no KH, which is carbonate hardness. And the reason we only want GH is because we want to be able to influence the pH. So general hardness doesn't play as much into pH, but like if you had a general hardness of 20, which is like ridiculously high, odds are that it's going to be, your pH is going to be high too, because there's other things that go into general hardness that could influence your pH. But KH is the main one that we go for. So the buffering substrate that we talked about earlier actually absorbs KH, which allows the substrate to like influence the pH. And I know it's a lot of KH, pH, GH, like a lot of H's.
A lot of H's.
A lot of H's going on here. But GH is what every animal needs, general hardness in their aquarium. So you always want general hardness. If you don't have any general hardness, like you're not going to have a lot of success keeping livestock.
Okay, this might be a dumb question, but
Yes.
is this the same as like soft water, hard water stuff at home, or is this something completely different?
Yeah. So like soft water would be a low GH, hard water would be a high GH.
Okay.
So like think soft and hard. GH is hardness, general hardness. So like a lower GH would be soft water, a higher GH would be hard water.
Okay.
And so like most people that have wells will have hard water.
Yeah.
And that means there's
we have well water.
Yeah. So your GH is probably pretty high.
Yeah.
Your KH is probably pretty high. So like most likely your water would be suitable for like neocaridina. But some people will have a 0 GH and like a 13 KH. And like that is not conducive at all to keeping livestock. So like one thing they could do is they could, let's say that I have a KH of 10 and a GH of 0. Well, I need to add GH to my aquarium to make it at least equal. So like a GH of 10 and a KH of 10. But the best thing that you could do is cut your KH in half by like doing half distilled water or half RO water and half your regular water. That would give you a GH of 5. And then you could add KH or GH in there to get that to like 5 or 10. Because 2-to-1 ratio is what we're always going for, 2 GH to 1 KH. And so
I was about to ask that.
If you want an acidic setup, so a pH below 7, what you should have is a KH of 0. But
what does KH, what is that exactly?
That stands for carbonate hardness.
Okay.
And really what it is that determines how easy it is to move your pH one way or the other. So like the more KH that you have, the more stable your pH is going to be. So like if you have a 20 KH, like your pH isn't going to move at all. Like that thing's going to be solid wherever it is. And usually it's going to be solid high, not solid low. And so if you have a KH of 0, what that opens the door to is like now you can have these huge fluctuations in pH, which is why people have pH crashes and all their livestock dies. So that's where a active substrate comes in, because an active substrate like Brightwell soil will hold the pH at a stable level.
Yeah. So when you're saying that substrate like absorbs the KH, it like just holds it there so it can help like balance the.
So it absorbs the KH so that it's no longer in the water, and then it's gonna. So if you have no KH in your water, like if you have 0 KH in your water, that substrate is gonna last a whole lot longer because it's working not as hard to change the pH.
Mm.
And so if you have 10 KH, it's gonna take a couple of days to absorb that KH, and then it can only do that. Like say over the course, depending on how much you use, it can only absorb 1,000 KH or 100 KH. Well, once it absorbs that, like now it's done. It can't work anymore. Like it can only absorb so much KH. And so like if you put no KH in there, then that substrate could last 4 or 5 years instead of 2 years. And so like we always change it out every 2 years just to be safe. But yeah.
Gotcha.
So like I always recommend if you're going for a low pH tank, using a buffering substrate because that will give you more consistency. Although using alder cones and Indian almond leaves and things like that can give you a pretty stable pH, it's a lot more risky.
Yeah, but because then like you have like the breakdown of that stuff, right? Which can also
change the pH. Yeah, it can change a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So for fish, it matters less, but shrimp are much more sensitive to pH changes. And so like some people will take a fish out of a 7 pH tank and throw it in a 5 pH tank to get it to start to breed. And so like that's how it does its breeding setup. Now for shrimp, you can't do that. You do that and most likely it's going to molt and die. Like
Neos too, or just caridina?
No, for the breeding setup.
I just meant like being sensitive to the pH.
Oh yeah,
changes.
all shrimp in general will have that issue because anything that molts, anything that has an exoskeleton and molts is going to have issues with sudden changes because anytime there's a sudden change, they're gonna be like triggered to be like, oh, I need to molt or I need to shed this outer layer, and that's what causes the issue. It's not necessarily that they can't survive it. It's just that it triggers them to do something that they're not ready for, which could cause them to die.
Yeah.
So that's GH and KH. So Emily, before we move on to like ammonia, NO2, NO3, have you seen any comments come in about GH, KH, or pH that we maybe missed or didn't even look at?
So Andy Hawkins says, can you put too many leaves and cones in? I basically have soft black water.
Yes. So absolutely you can put too many. And again, it depends on what you're going for. Like if you're going for a pH of 6.5, then you can put too many in there that you would drop the pH to 5. And so like at some point, if you put too many in there, you might get a pH of 3, you might get a pH of 2. Like you could really drop the pH depending on what you put in there. So like, yes, you could definitely overdo it. But there's no like, hey, for every 1 gallon of water, you should add this many cones and this many leaves to drop your parameters by this, because everyone has a different KH, everyone has a different GH, everyone has a different, pH that's normal. And so like, you can't give like a one size fits all type thing.
And then Will says, what do you think of digital meters versus test strips?
So, I mean, that's a great question. So we use pH meters that are digital. I guess they're expensive in my mind, but maybe you guys won't think so. I want to say they're like $200 for the pen, and then the probe, which is the end that you actually stick in the water. That's probably like $70, and we have to replace that every like 2 months. And so for pH, we test pH so often that it makes sense to have a probe. But if you just have one aquarium, then I would say like the liquid test kits are more cost effective, because even if you have a digital one at home, like it's still going to need the probe changed out ever so often. And like eating a $70 bill every 2 months doesn't make a lot of sense. And you might be like, well, I have less aquarium, so I'm not going to use it as much. Well, like the probe still has to sit in a solution. Every time you use it, it's getting dry, it's getting wet. And so like, it's still going to go bad over time. And so I would say liquid would be my way to go. What are you smiling about over there?
Will says, oh, how does a colorblind fellow such as yourself read a test strip?
Because the color on in the 2 is the same as the color on the. He just doesn't know what color it actually is.
No, so that's actually so to be honest, the 5-in-1 like test strips, the ones that you dip, I can't use them because I can't tell the colors. Because the colors are so close that I can't tell the difference. For pH, I can't do pH because I can't tell the different shades to determine the type or like the pH. And then GH and KH I can do. So GH and KH are the easiest ones to test for because you just add a drop into the test solution. And let's say the primary color like is blue. Well, once it turns yellow, then that's your GH reading. So like if it starts at blue and then you put 10 drops in there and the 10th drop, it changes from blue to yellow, then that's how you know. And I can tell blue and yellow apart. And then same thing with GH and KH are both very similar. So like I can do both of those, but I can't do any of the other ones. Like ammonia, I can only tell if it's like very severe. Like if it's like the other day we did an 8 part per million ammonia, which was like a completely different color. And so I was like, yeah, I can tell that there's ammonia in there, but like if it's just 0.25 ammonia, yeah.
That's why it pays to have friends.
Yeah, no, that's why I got my first employee because I couldn't tell orange and yellow shrimp. And we've talked about that. Like I ordered 400 of each color, I think it was. And I did my best to do, because I wanted to do 400 per tank. So 200 orange or 400 orange, 400 yellow. And they come in bags of 200. And I did 200 orange, 200 yellow in one tank, 200 orange, 200 yellow in the other tank. And then we had to separate them. But it was only because I couldn't tell the difference. And I had to guess. But that's when like I knew that I needed extra sets of eyes around. So pays to have people that aren't colorblind.
But also they're asking any good brands for the digital testers.
So the digital ones. So the TDS, so TDS is one measurement that we haven't talked about and we don't have test kits for it. Because TDS is what's the best way to explain TDS? TDS is a guide, not something that you should rely on. And so we can talk about that more in a bit, but for TDS, we use digital meters only. And I don't even know if you could buy something to test TDS other than a digital meter. But we use TDS EZ. It's a blue TDS pen. And we get it on Amazon. They're like $20. For pH, I can actually look it up. It might take me a second. But the brand that we use, I know Milwaukee is a really good brand. I don't think the pH pen that we use is Milwaukee though. Let me see. Filter 2023.
Will said, Rob dips the test strip. All my parameters are good. They're all gray.
What a guy.
Oh.
Oops.
Rob's first date with Amanda was bringing her around to read his test strips.
Is that what Will said? What
Yeah.
a jerk. Hey, did Will ever say anything about coming on Friday
Yeah,
instead?
he said something. Let me find it. He mentioned coming today still. He said rain check on lunch. I'll still swing by today to drop off the fish though after 12:30 should work? Question mark.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Will.
should work. I don't know where this freaking thing is. And so Amazon won't let you search pH because it says you need 3 or more characters. So then I'm like, okay, well, what's another
pH test
test? I'll do test. That's a good
or
one.
digital pH digital.
I did pH pen and it didn't come up. Oh, here we go. Smart. That's what I keep you around. Okay, so what's this brand? Apera Instruments is what we use. So it's Apera Instruments pH 60F. That's what we use. If you can see it, this is what the probe looks like. The probe's actually only $46.44. I was wrong. I thought it was like $70.
How much was it?
$46.44.
It's still not super cheap, but
Oh, that's why.
better.
The actual pH pen is $80. So that's where I was getting the 70 from. So it's actually cheaper than I thought. I thought it was like $200 or $300. So it's $80 and then $40 for new probes, roughly. So
That's a little more reasonable.
yeah, a little bit more reasonable. So if you got a couple aquariums, if you say you have 10 aquariums,
How
and
often would you say like a normal person with aquariums at home like has to test pH? Like, is that a daily thing? Is
yeah,
that
the only time I would test pH is
if something looks funky?
yeah, if something's going wrong, then I would test it. Yeah. So usually that's when I test everything. Like if the fish are swimming at the top of the tank and just acting differently, if they're not eating as good, if they're sitting at the bottom, like all those times, like that's what triggers me to be like, oh, I probably need to test and see what's going on here. And so like that's pH, GH, KH, all that. Now the next thing would be NO2, NO3, and ammonia. So ammonia is like, again, if you guys know what the cycle is of an aquarium, there's live bacteria that forms that processes fish waste and leftover food. So leftover food, fish waste, produces ammonia, which ammonia is lethal to living animals. Ammonia needs bacteria to break it down, and then it breaks it down into NO2, which is nitrite. Nitrite. Nitrite is also lethal to live animals. And then another bacteria forms that produces that into NO3, which is nitrate. Nitrate.
Was this the one?
Yes.
Okay. So, Guppy Joe was asking for a link, so I was gonna try and send one.
Okay. What's that? You're looking forward to. So NO3 is the final thing of the cycle. And so that's where, live plants can consume NO3 to actually thrive. And so you need NO3 in an aquarium for plants to live. Without NO3 in an aquarium, then like the plants will just die because they need that to consume everything. Like if you don't have NO3, it's not good. You need some level of NO3. So we always test. Obviously, we get in a lot of livestock and we have to constantly be messing with cycles. So we test a little bit more than the normal. But like with shrimp, why it's important to test is because a lot of shrimp don't produce enough waste to keep the cycle alive. And so it's good to kind of check in once a month or something like that and just test your ammonia, test your NO2, test your NO3. And if every single one of those is 0, that's not good. You want to see some NO3. You want to see 10 part per million, 20 part per million. Anything above 20 part per million is where you start getting into like danger area for shrimp. And so like a lot of fertilizers have NO3 in them. Some will have a lot more than others. And so like if you have a shrimp tank that sits at 20 part per million or 20 part per million NO3, then you dose a all-in-one fertilizer and then all of a sudden it jumps you up to 30 parts per million. That's where you can start having issues with shrimp. And so that's where like a shrimp safe fertilizer comes in that might only have 1 part per million NO3 instead of 10 parts per million, something like that. And so that's where these really come in. And so we always have like during our first week of getting imports in, we'll test ammonia, NO2, NO3 for the first 4 days. And then at the 1 week mark, we'll test it all again just to make sure that there is a cycle. It is doing good. But also for us, we use TurboStart, which TurboStart will not work in a pH of less than 7. So like we don't even try to cycle the tank until we have a pH of 7 or higher, because it just won't work. So that's the cycle. So like Leather, for you, what questions do you have as far as like, I know we've talked about cycle multiple times, but like are there questions that you have like when to test, what to test for, why should I test? Because I want you to be a professional on this.
Yeah, I guess my biggest question as far as like making sure that your tank is cycled or has a cycle and is ready for your livestock. Like if you're starting brand new, like this is your first aquarium or a brand new one, maybe not your first one, but a new one. Making sure that it's where you need it to be. Like what should you do to make sure that it's gonna be in a cycle or whatever the proper verbiage is?
Yeah.
For when you put the livestock in it.
Yep. So one of the best things you could do is you can add ammonia directly to your tank before ever adding livestock. And I would add in 3 part per million ammonia and then wait a week and then test to see where it's at. And if you don't have the live bacteria in your tank, the ammonia is just going to sit there. And eventually the live bacteria will form, and that's what's going to process that. And when you get to the point where like you have your tank's able to process 1 part per million ammonia in a 24-hour period and turn that into NO3, that's when you know that the cycle is complete.
So like, how do you get the live bacteria in there to start with? Like, is that something
Just
that
naturally forms.
it's just like in water?
Yeah, it will just naturally.
Would that be in RO water?
I mean,
I guess
technically,
it's probably not very common that people actually use RO water like in a normal tank at home, unless they're like going to buy it somewhere.
So
special.
if you use RO water that has nothing in it, like zero TDS, there's no minerals in it, that you wouldn't want to set up an aquarium like that. So you would want to have GH and KH in there. But as long as you have GH and KH are the building blocks of life. Like you have to have minerals to be able to grow.
Mhm.
And so like bacteria will just naturally form in an aquarium. Like people always say like, how did I get hydra? How did I get planaria? How did I get this? I'm just like, honestly, I don't know. But like, I know that I set up a tank that has nothing in it. And then all of a sudden, if you're overfeeding or something like that, like, or if you're putting food in there to like start the cycle, like all of a sudden there's detritus worms. Like, where the heck did they come from? Like,
yeah, I mean, it kind of makes me
crazy.
think of like old food and like getting maggots and weird stuff growing in it. Like it just happens all of a sudden.
well, it's like, yeah, like where does
Blech.
mold come from?
Blech.
Like mold just naturally forms from the air and whatever's in the food. And same thing, like whatever's in the aquarium, like,
Well, now I can't drink water anymore.
well, no, you can buy a really fancy water dispenser that hydrogen or puts
Yeah.
hydrogen in it.
Yeah. No, I only drink bottled water, which there might be stuff in that too still that would be questionable.
You only
but
drink bottled water?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we don't have like we have well water and we don't have like a fancy water filtration system at home. One day we will. But right now we don't, and I'm not drinking that. And like I would drink Chick-fil-A's water because it was filtered water. But I'm a water snob.
Yeah?
Yeah, like if you go to like some of the restaurants in town, like it tastes like chlorine water, like
Yeah,
city water, like
yeah.
I'm not drinking that.
You don't do that.
No.
Probably has fluoride in it.
Yeah, probably does.
That's not good.
No. So-
Liv's here. Hi, Liv.
Hey,
How was bagging?
well, we're on some old breather bags that not old, but they're sticky. So you have to pry them open.
Are you
So-
using the AQ PKG ones, the green ones? Are you using?
No,
Are we out of those?
we have some. I'll tell you about it later.
Oh, it's
But
the
no,
story.
I was using Flip Aquatics bags
Well, the
that-
good news
that I
is
had to pry apart all
Oh,
the way
yeah.
down with my fingers.
that definitely adds time.
About 3 times the amount of time per bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my fingers hurt.
If you
No.
blow on them really hard, then they just open right up.
I'm not doing that.
I tried it. It actually doesn't work. But yeah, no, good news for you. We have our order of breather bags. They should arrive this week, I think.
Woo.
Yeah.
It's actually, I don't normally bag, so it's good for our shipping team.
It's good for our shipping team. It's good for our bagging team.
Mhm.
Anyway, what are we talking about?
Planaria and well water.
Oh, yeah.
And
So-
the cycle.
The cycle. So the ammonia will produce the live bacteria. So like if you put ammonia in a tank, the live bacteria will form naturally.
Okay.
Don't ask me how. Same
just
thing like if
does.
you go put a mustard sandwich in the fridge, I guarantee you it's going to eventually get mold on it.
Yeah, I bet it
I don't know why,
It just does.
because I'm not a biologist.
So adding ammonia,
Yes.
how do you do that?
So I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of ways to add ammonia. I'm sure you could buy ammonia online. The way that I do it is Fritz, again, love Fritz. They sell fishless fuel, which is ammonia in a bottle. And I don't know if it's any different than ammonia you'd buy on Amazon or whatever. But you dose that into your aquarium and it has dosing instructions like per gallon, this is how much part per million it would increase it, so on and so forth. So I would buy that and then I would dose that. And again, I would start with a ammonia of 3 parts per million. and then let it cycle itself.
And so how long would it take from setting that up, adding your ammonia, letting that cycle get started, and then you test a week later, you said,
Yeah.
and then it might be good by then?
No, that's a
Or-
that's a really good question. So it has been a long time since I've actually cycled an aquarium that way. So I would say, I know that I used to cycle aquariums for 30 days. That seems to be like the standard, is cycle it for 30 days. But I've never done it with like the testing. And the reason I've never done that is because I'm colorblind. So I can't really test. And so now that I have a staff that isn't colorblind that could test, then I would say like it shouldn't take any longer than 30 days. It could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks, but I would say at the 2 week or at the 4 week mark, like that's as long as it's going to take.
Gotcha.
So maybe in a pH of less than 7, it might take a little bit longer because that bacteria is a little bit more stubborn.
Yeah.
But again, ammonia is a lot less toxic in a pH of less than 7, so you can get away with a little bit of ammonia in your water. I don't recommend it, but if you were in a hurry, rushing, then
If you ordered your fish or your shrimp before you had your tank ready, I feel like we have people do that.
You feel like we have we do
Yeah.
have people that do that.
I feel
all
like
the
I've heard of emails about stuff like that
time. Yes,
happening.
it's constant. But hey, I mean, people like, oh, shiny, and 15% off sale. I got to get it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it happens. But Emily, you got anything for us over there?
I feel like the chat's popping right now.
Is it popping off?
Yeah.
Yeah,
pull it.
I don't think there's really like questions at the moment. I know that Emily Reagan gave us some questions on Instagram, but they're mostly about like neos.
Hey, we'll take them.
All right. How do you know a neo shrimp is ready to breed? Is it size, age? What is it?
Well, Emily Reagan just caught my eye. She's mustard sandwich. What even is that?
Only Rob. Only Rob.
I personally have never had a mustard sandwich. It's just the one thing I could think of, like on the fly.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I was thinking of bread and mustard, and I'm just like, yeah, that would produce mold.
Bread just by itself would also produce.
Would it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, what was the question?
Neos, when are they ready to breed?
When are they ready to breed?
Yep.
Well, I mean, at the point that you can sex them, they're normally ready to breed. So the easiest way to tell if they're actually ready to breed is females have what is called a saddle, which if you think of a horse and a horse saddle, it's the same kind of principle. Is shrimp will have their eggs on the very top of their back, and you can actually see them, and it looks like a horse saddle sitting on their back. And so like it's a lot tougher to tell when they're caridina and they have a solid color and you can't actually see through the shrimp. But most neocaridina, you can actually see through their outer shell, and then you can actually see the saddle. So like if your shrimp start to have a saddle, that's how you know that they're getting close to being able to breed. As far as when they breed, usually in the spring and the fall are the two seasons that we get shrimp to breed. So like those are the two. There's ways to trick them into breeding, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would say just rely on 2 times a year, you'll get breeding. But good question.
And then she says, do male and female neo shrimp mature around the same time frame? Are males any sooner?
I mean, that's a great question. I honestly can't say that I know for sure. I would assume that they mature similar. Possibly males mature a little bit quicker. So like males would be ready to breed sooner. What?
I'm just reading comments.
What? It's hard to answer questions over here when you just get all giddy.
Oh.
What'd you read?
When we were talking about water, and Will's telling me that tap water and chlorine water builds character, and Emily says, "Oh, Miss J Guppy, a bougie bish."
Ow!
I'm not that bougie, but I am bougie about my water.
And about your chicken.
and my chicken.
What's your chicken? You're bougie about
Can you
chicken
tell the
too?
people how much you were paying per pound for chicken, please?
I was.
Oh yeah, and you're like sealing it now. I saw your post that.
Yeah, listen, we are minimizing waste at my house. I'm sick of wasting leftovers or stuff getting freezer burnt. Sick of it. I was paying like $8 or $9 a pound for chicken because I didn't want nasty chicken. I wanted good chicken.
$8 or $9.
But then I
per
found a local
pound?
butcher that has good chicken for way cheaper, so it's fine.
So what do you pay now?
Like $3.85 or something like that per pound.
Yeah, that is.
That's
a good
still
and I
expensive.
barely have to trim
Yeah.
anything off of it. Like it's good.
It's good chicken, not fat chicken.
Good chicken. And it has good texture. Yeah.
How do you like your chicken? Medium rare?
Yeah. I like it with a little bit of salmonella.
Builds character,
Yeah.
as Will would say.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, Emily, that's so funny. Emily's comment got held for review because she said the word crap. Poor Emily. Well, crap. Oh no, it's because she said sexing. It's not crap. She said I suck at sexing them.
Mm.
The easiest way to sex shrimp is you put them into a clear container that has no residue in it from washing in the dishwasher or anything like that. Clear container, right? And this will work for any shrimp. And then you put a bright flashlight underneath them. So whether it's a phone light or whatever, and then you turn off the lights in the room, and then boom, you can instantly see their saddles. So like that is the easiest way to sex shrimp. Now, just so everyone knows, females have a skirt. Female shrimp have a skirt, and that means their tail is rounded on the bottom. And then males have a straight line. And then also, males will be much smaller than females for the most part. Sometimes you get a big male, but it doesn't happen very often. So.
And then Emily also says, "What's your go-to? I don't know what's wrong, but something is definitely wrong. Medicine, I assume for shrimp as well."
Wait, say it again.
She said, "What's your go-to? I don't know what's wrong, but something is definitely wrong. Medicine."
Oh my gosh! Instantly, Maricin 2. So like, if all the parameters test fine, if the cycle's working, if the animals look healthy, I can't see anything wrong with them, and they're dying. Instantly, I'm going to be like, okay, I know everything's good. It's got to be a bacterial issue. And Maricin 2 is what I dose. And we dose it at 50% of what they recommend. And we do day 1 dose, day 2 off, day 3 dose, day 4 water change as big as you can that you're not going to shock the animals. And then add in live bacteria because Maricin 2 will kill your live bacteria. So that's my like WTF, like don't know what to do, like Maricin. But that doesn't mean you should do it unless you know that you need to.
Then Emily also says, "Would you all ever buy fish from a member of your fan club asking for a friend?"
A member of the now it's a fan club. Let's go. Aquarium club. But we'll take fan club. I like fan club. Would we ever buy fish? Absolutely. Like if somebody we have a local guy that just breeds, what is it, like blue star endlers or something like that?
Any endlers, Rob's in. That's just it.
I
Any
love
guppies,
endlers.
J Guppies in.
I love endlers. I do want to be known for endlers because I just freaking love endlers. I can't wait till I
I
get the fish room
legitimately
done.
think we're about to be on the map for guppies and endlers.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you and J Guppy are just crazy about them.
We get something in our head and we just do it. That's that deep personality.
It is the deep personality.
Yeah. What else should we be known for?
We're already known for shrimp, so
I want to be nano fish in general. I really want to be known for nano fish because it is our specialty.
yeah.
Let's ask the chat because we were talking about this as a team. Are chubby fancy guppies, would that be something that would be considered a nano fish?
Goldfish. Is that what you mean?
Oh yeah, did I say guppy?
Yeah.
Jay Guppy, what are you doing to me? Goldfish.
You've been brainwashed.
No, it's because I said chubby. I meant to say fat and beautiful guppies. Chubby goldfish. Would that be considered a nano fish? Because
How
technically,
big are
like,
they?
I mean, they get pretty big. Like you should probably keep them in like at least a 20-gallon tank. And they get like,
Wow.
I mean, they get
They were cute.
fat. They are freaking cute. Like I would love if like I had a tank like this just full of them.
You do have a tank like that.
But I don't have it full of chubby goldfish.
You could.
I mean, I guess technically I could do anything.
Anything you set your mind to, Rob.
Yeah. That's why I keep you around. You just inspire me. Flip farms.
Flip farm.
Let's see. What do people think about it? Local fish clubs is where I get my best fish. Oh yeah, if you have local fish clubs, that is the way to go. Rob Family Show. Will, you're always the best. Rob has always been known to buy plants too. Yeah, I freaking love plants. Plants is how I got started though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liv likes to buy plants too.
Liv, is your house a jungle?
No, I just meant the fact that she's been ordering lots
No,
of
for
plants
here.
lately for here.
Like all I did last week is place plant orders.
To the point that she was like freaking out this week that she thought she didn't
Yeah,
place the
Monday
plant
I
order.
was like, oh my god, I didn't place a.
It's
plant
because you had to
order.
place it
I
last
placed
week.
it Friday. Yeah, because with Christmas and the New Year's, and
Yeah.
there was just like 2 weeks of
Swimming
just
in plants.
So
weird
with you taking over inventory, has it been more stressful?
no,
No?
because what's stressful is when we don't have things and it's out of
Yes.
my control.
Yes. So you like it being in your control now.
Yeah, because then at least if we don't have things, I know who to blame.
Yeah.
And it's-
Although I do have to say our inventory chat lately, when I wake up in the morning, it's fun to read through it because I'm just like, man, there's a lot going on in here.
I
think
don't think that's fun.
today was the sorted
Yeah, the bundles.
the bundles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You were firing back. You're like, this is
No, I
how
was trying to give them
this is how it
the
actually is.
information that they needed so they pulled the right stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect that they'd be bagging that stuff this soon, honestly.
Quick.
So I
We'd
got to
be
get
on
that
that.
printed today. Huh?
We're on it.
Yeah.
We're on it. We're making things happen. I like that you just built it out that way. That was smart.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, that was really the best way.
whose idea was that?
That was my idea, but I asked Liv because I think that would be best for inventory, and she agreed. And we also thought of something else that is
Better.
yeah.
Is this
Good.
the 5, 10, 20 pack thing?
Oh,
Well,
that-
it
that's
has,
I know you asked
it
about
has
that.
to do with that, but
Ooh.
Also, we just.
But we
made
can't
the
talk about it
decisions
now?
already.
I mean we can, but it would just bore
I don't
everybody.
think the people care.
Oh, they don't care about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want to hear all this crap. Goldfish. Let's see. Ray's Fish Room. What's up, Ray? Goldfish, no nano fish. Rob, you just want to sell them. Ha ha ha. No, I want to keep them, is what I want. But I want to make sure it fits into what we're doing because we always promote nano fish. And if someone comes to our website, like Bichers, for example, are not nano fish, but like for some reason we ordered them at some point and we had them for a
What?
while. The dinosaur fish,
I don't know if that is-
Bichers. You don't remember those?
No.
They took us like 8 years to sell.
Was that before me?
No, they literally took 2 years to sell. Yes, there's been a tank of them that we've been trying to sell since the beginning of Flip Aquatics. No, we what?
Will Flip Aquatics, known for locally bred shrimp, a superior quarantine process, a wide selection of plants, fish and shrimp, and medium rare chicken.
Oh, man.
Oh, his wife would never let him do that. He knows better. They raise chickens and stuff.
Oh yeah, no.
That was definitely a joke.
It was definitely a joke. I do have a friend though that she's funny. She likes her steak like rare, and so she's like, oh, like I'll cook my chicken medium rare, and she
Oh.
got sick as a dog.
Oh heck.
We made fun of her so bad.
Yeah, that's
Thank goodness she didn't get salmonella.
that's no bueno.
Wonder why. Wonder why you can't eat chicken medium rare.
Because they're like, yeah,
'Cause they're
chickens are
gross?
gross. They're like they're basically trash pandas.
Okay, well, how
but
about
chicken.
pigs? Can you eat a pork chop medium rare?
I don't know because I don't eat pork
Yeah,
chops.
you can. Yeah, you can. Yep, you can.
I honestly, I don't think I've ever had a pork chop
People
medium
eat
rare.
floppy bacon.
Oh, I eat
which is
floppy
also
bacon all the
gross.
time.
You
Pork
would.
only has to be
Yes,
cooked to
that is a
145
good point.
degrees
I
internal
love
temperature.
floppy bacon.
Ew.
So, but that's why there's like different certifications. So the same way that like sushi, there's sushi grade salmon versus non-sushi grade
Mm.
salmon. It's the way that the things are
Hey,
raised.
just turn around and look. Just turn around and look. I'm just thinking of like floppy bacon, and I see that. Oh, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
so like there's like I don't know if it's called USDA still, but like there's grades of pork chops that if you go to like a fine dining restaurant, they'll ask you how you want it cooked.
Mm.
I don't think rare necessarily,
I think about
but
talking about sushi
Kinda.
and stuff. People might get confused of what this live stream is actually about.
Yeah.
Like, are we?
We're going
are we
down a rabbit trail.
Hey, what's up, Jay Guppy?
it's about mustard.
Oh, Jay Guppy and
sandwiches.
Mark are back there. That means they have a question about building.
Yeah, they're trying to.
Oh, it's because it's after 11, and they're like, we got stuff to do,
Yeah, and we have a meeting in
and
like
we have
20
a
minutes.
meeting at 11:30. Yeah. So, is he bringing coffee?
Yeah,
Is he?
he said he's bringing Starbucks.
No. What? We got stuff to talk about, he says.
Okay.
We're redoing our racks downstairs, and we're trying out a couple different ways. If you watched our members only video, you would see kind of like the behind the scenes of one of the racks that we're working on. And then we're pausing that one. We're trying out a different method on a different rack. And that's what we're talking about. But anyway, I digress.
Emily, I agree with you
you
on the
sure do.
pork chops. There is no such thing as a delicious pork chop.
Oh
Me-
my gosh.
me
I
and
had
Emily
the
are
most
just on the same
del-
page.
We're gonna have to kick you both out.
That would be a terrible decision.
It would
for,
be
for
terrible.
the business.
What are you trying to say?
Because I'm just saying, me and Emily bring a lot to the table. Both of us.
Well, I'm not talking about that, Emily.
I know. I'm talking about the other Emily. I mean, that Emily does bring a lot to the table.
Yeah,
too.
we're not getting rid of that,
Emily
Emily.
Reagan brings a lot to the
We
table.
need that, Emily. Right, Emily? She said yes.
Emily Reagan is the backbone of our live streams.
Emily Reagan is the
She
best.
really
Emily
is.
Reagan and Will, like without
Yeah.
them, we would have no
And Guppy
entertainment.
Joe. And Guppy,
Guppy
Joe.
Joe does, yeah. He put some things in there. He drinks his coffee with like sparkles and all kinds of crazy stuff. Remember he
Mud
told us
chocolate or mud something.
yes.
I
Yeah,
don't know
like
what it
chocolate
was.
chip, mud, coffee, cookie dough, vanilla
don't know.
swirl. I don't know. He had a crazy coffee though. But anyway, testing. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you're entertained too. The reason we do this is we really want to connect with you guys and have a good time. And it's just fun to drink our coffee and hang out. And so, Leather, thank you for being a part of the live stream as always.
It's my pleasure, Rob.
Do you feel like you contributed?
I mean, in the form of asking questions that other people might have had.
Yes. I feel like you did a great job.
I think that's really the thing that I can bring to the table on live streams in general is
Yeah.
because I think that it's easy because you know all of the things. It's easy to just like maybe miss something that would it's common sense to you.
See, this is how we get distracted.
Guppy Joe said that it was called chocolate muddy puddles.
Oh,
Mud puddles,
muddy puddles.
Muddy puddle.
chocolate muddy puddles coffee. I love it. Guppy Joe. That's the best. Well, do you want to close this out? Oh, wait, hold on. I got something. I got one more thing. And then I'm done. Hold up now. I'm getting there.
Mark's about to come after us.
That's okay. Najee was here last week.
Oh yeah.
Najee became a member after the live stream, so huge shout out to Najee.
Woo!
And so
Somebody else did too.
I know. I'm getting ready. Calm down.
I'm excited.
Wow. So huge shout out to Najee. And then our other newest member is Leah Warren. So huge shout out to both of you. Thank you for joining the Flip Aquatics Fish Club. We're excited for you to be a part of it. And thank you to everyone else. We also got Ben Sharp on there because he's on my list. But thank you guys so much for joining the club. We appreciate it. We hope that you can join us for the live streams. Najee, we missed you this week. I didn't see you in the chat. And Leather also wants to apologize for calling you a girl.
Yes. Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. So Najee, thank you. And you guys make it a great week as always. And I'll let Leather close it out from here.
As always, God